Hi, welcome back to Bug-Eyed Gardener channel. Today is April 20th and we're gonna get our onions and potatoes in the ground. About a week later than I was last year. We've had a lot of rain here in Ohio. I've had over 6 inches just in the month of April in the first 14 days or whatever. It's been a really wet year this year. So I got the garden tilled up there a few nights ago behind me. Got that rye cover crop tilled in. It did, I think it did really good this year. I was pretty happy. Lots of roots down in the ground when I tilled it up and lots of organic materials. I'm pretty happy with it. And got it all tilled in. I hit this spot here today. Again, real quick, we're gonna put our onions and potatoes in and we'll see what we do. So here's my onion starts. They look a little sad right now because it was kind of sunny. It's cold out there. It's only like 55. The wind's blowing really hard, so if you can't hear me, sorry. But these were sitting outside in that black tray. They got a little bit dry. It's kind of hoping to give them the ground a couple days ago. It didn't happen, and they got a little bit dry, so they're a little saggy. But you can see how tall they are. And I trimmed these 2 or 3 times. I think twice. Trimmed 2 or 3 inches off of them. So these are ready to go in the ground. I'm gonna pull one out of here and show you what they look like. Let me pull one that's got a couple in it. Show you how to tease them apart. Here's a couple good ones right here. These are nice size ones. So you pull this little plug out. I'll show you while we're up here in the air. It's easier to see. So we're just gonna slowly pull them apart, just kind of tease them apart. These roots will come right apart like this. So you can plant these in any kind of container to get them started. You put them in a, any kind of leftover Chinese container or whatever. So we're gonna put that in the ground. We'll put them about 6 inches apart. I'm gonna plant 2 double rows, about a foot apart or so. I've got my double wheel hose set up with the double plows. I'm just gonna run it down through there and give me a line to go with, and we'll put some fertilizer, and I'll show you that here real quick. So when we put these in the ground, you wanna make sure all these little leaves coming off are up out of the dirt. So you just wanna put about that much there in the ground, because whatever's down in the ground, you get water in, it'll rot. So you wanna make sure you keep them up out. That first one can go in, it's pretty thin, but make sure the rest of these stay up out. So they're only going to grab about that deep. That's it. And that's a leaf sticking up there. You can see the roots on them. These are nice looking. These are about, I don't know, these are definitely thicker and stronger than the ones I planted last year. I had really good results last year. So let's get started. I'll make a couple trenches here and show you how we're going to plant them. All right, so we're ready to get our onions in the ground. I'm going to make a little trench a couple inches deep, put some pre-planted fertilizer down in it. This pretty much goes the same with onion sets too. Dig them down a couple inches, put some fertilizer in, put the onion sets down in. We're gonna use the onion plants we started from seed this year. And you wanna do something, use something to dig a ditch. I used to use a hoe and I'd use a rake, cover them up. Did that for years, worked great. A couple years ago, I bought a Haas double wheel hoe, and then I built a high arch wheel hoe after that. A bunch of scrap metal I had laying around, and it works awesome. So since I've already got it set up for the wide plows on the outside, we'll use that real quick, just make a couple marks. We'll just go off those marks to fertilize and to plant our onions. So let me show you how to do that real quick. All right, so we got our wheel hoe here. Get up here and line up to the other side. I've already got it marked out. We're just gonna push it down through. All right, so there's our trenches set up. Now let's grab the fertilizer. Here's a great tip for keeping your fertilizer from year to year. Let's get one of these lids that seals on top. I've seen these at Tractor Supply. I bought this one on eBay years ago, I think. Keeps your fertilizer sealed up, keep in the garage, keep from year to year if you don't use it all. This is either, like I said, triple 10, triple 12. Whatever I bought last year is what I got left. So we'll walk down through. All right, just like that. Not too much. We do our potatoes, we use a lot more than that on them. But just enough to get them started. Just grab our onions here. I'll show you how to put them in real quick. Okay, so like I showed you there earlier, I'm just careful pulling them out. We'll leave about 2 foot to get in there, get room to get my tiller in. Put these down in, hold them up a little bit. We're just going to pull that dirt that we made in that trench back over it, or some of that rye, just like that. This is time consuming planting. I did this last year, it took longer than I expected, so you just tease them apart easy. Give them a little shake there, kind of break the material up. There you go. We'll just go down through, put all these in the ground like this. Now, right now, I've got about a foot between them. That'll leave me enough room to run my little rake in between there. Take care of the weeds. And we'll put about 6 inches apart or 5 inches apart, somewhere in there. All right, so we'll go down through. I'm going to do, these are 2 rows of Patterson. I'm going to do a row of candy and a row of walla on the other side. So I'll show you when I get done here what it looked like. All right, so we got all the onions in the ground there. I don't know how you can see them in the video. It's hard to see with the sun shining like that, but there's 4 rows. These 2 rows here are Patterson hybrids. They're storage onion. I've still got, I think there's like 10 of them in the garage. I'll show a quick video here at the end, or a quick picture. I think there's still like 10 of them in the garage. 2 or 3 of them have sprouted, but they're still holding some of them. I was really impressed. They held great. So I planted more of those than the other ones. That's why. That way I get onions throughout all winter. We use them in soups, and I use a bunch in salsa in the fall and spaghetti sauce and all kinds of stuff. So we use them all up. And then from here to that post, I've got candy. I think there's about 75 or so of these Patterson I planted. And from here to there's 50 or so of the candy, and then there's 25 or so of the walla on the back. And the walla were my favorite. They were the sweetest, and they got huge. If you remember last year in the video, I had one that was 1 1/3 pounds. It was big onion. There were several of them like that. I think I had about 6 that size. They were huge onions. They're really sweet. They just didn't keep very long. So we ate them. We ate them all when they was fresh and stuff. But we lost a few of them because they didn't keep. The candies kept a little bit longer. They kept for a couple months, pretty good. Maybe a little bit longer. And like I said, the Patterson's been like a year. So that's why we planted those. They were good onions. They're not as sweet as the other ones, but they keep for a long time, so they hold very well. All right, so let's grab the potatoes. I'll grab my wheel hoe. We'll make a ditch real quick and put some fertilizer in. Show you how we plant those. It'll just take a second to get them in the ground. All right, we'll dig a ditch real quick. Like I said, you can use a hoe or whatever, rake, whatever you got to dig a ditch. It doesn't be nothing fancy. I'm just going to use my wheel hoe because it's faster. And I've got them marked out here. We're going to put these 3-foot spacing. That'll give me room to hill between them and everything. Let's make us a trench. All right, there's a trench for taters. I'm gonna do 2 rows this year. I did 3 last year. If you remember my videos, I think I planted 20 pounds or so, a little bit less, I think. Ended up with 180 pounds of potatoes. I had a 9 times yield. It was incredible. But problem is, we ended up wasting half of this potatoes. We didn't eat half of them. I was gonna try to do something to preserve them. Never got around to it. So I'm gonna do 2 rows this year. Get a little bit more room in the garden for everything else. So I've got, that's about a cottage cheese container full of fertilizer. I'm gonna put that all in 1 row. Maybe not quite all of it. Yeah, not quite all of it, most of it though. That's a 20-foot row. Put some on the other side. That's about the last of my fertilizer. About time to buy a fresh bag for this year. All right. Let's grab our potatoes real quick and throw them in the ground. All right, so I got a 50-pound bag of kenebec there. I bought a big bag because I'm going to use some, give some to my dad, give some to one of my buddies if he wanted them. And since I don't need all of them, I'm not going to go through and cut them all up either. Like I said, you can cut these into pieces. I've heard somewhere like the size of an egg, it's the smallest you want to go, but you can take one of these potatoes. Let's find one that's got a whole bunch of eyes on, like that one there. You can cut that one right there in half. to get 2 out of it. But I don't need all these potatoes anyway. I'm just gonna get down there. They're not huge potatoes, so we'll just go down through, throw them in the ground real quick. Trying to put them eyes up. We're not gonna get fancy with them here. They always grow for me. I've never had a problem with them. About a foot apart or so. I used to get down in there and push them all down on the ground, but I did this last year and it worked fine. So now, I'll grab my other wheel hoe. Like I said, you can take a rake and just cover those up if you want. I did this last couple of years, it seemed to work all right. All right, so you can see that's a pretty quick way to plant potatoes. You can use a rake and hoe. I did it for a long time like that. Since I got these wheel hoes, I might as well put them to use. And you see how much faster it was to do it that way, so it makes it nice. I've still got about half of my onions left, maybe a little bit more. I planted all that I had because the seeds were from last year, so I figured I'd use them all up this year, just buy fresh next year. I won't give some of these to my dad, see if anybody else I work with wants any of them, but I still got half of them there. And some of these, like that one's got 3 in it, that one's got 3 in it. I planted some of them a little bit thick. The ones that are single are a lot nicer to plant. You can just grab them, dig your hole, put the whole plug in, it makes it nice. So you can do that, it's a lot easier. But if you don't have a tray like that to start them in, it's fine, just put a whole bunch in. They tease apart pretty easy, just kind of shake them, pull them apart, and they come right apart. So that's a great way to do onions. I did them last year from seed and loved it. I mean, we had, I forget how many, there was a video there, you can get back and watch. But I forget how many onions we had. It was a bunch. The Patterson ones kept great, so they were huge. And potatoes, like I said, I had 9 times yield last year. It looked like a good bit of fertilizer in, but my dad told me my grandpa used to plant pound per pound fertilizer per potatoes, and I can't plant them that heavy. But that was probably over the course. He probably fertilized them 2 more times through the year. Now we'll give them 1 more little dose of fertilizer when we hill them. I'll use my little Manis tiller on that because it's just so much easier and faster. But you can hoe with a rake. I did it for a long time. Works great. But anyhow, I did that last year too. Take a little Manis tiller and walk to the side, just pull the dirt up there, put some fertilizer down first, and side dress it with some fertilizer. I'd hill them up with that little Manis, makes that soil nice and loose, and the potatoes pull out so much easier in the end. So there's a video on that if you want to check out. I'll put up there. Watch that too. But I'll do it again this year and show you again how we do that. So that's potatoes and onions. I was gonna do some sweet peas, but we're not calling for rain for several days here. So I don't really want to put them in because they never sprout good if it's not gonna rain. I never have much luck with them. I'll do some snap peas, so we'll wait and do those. I was kind of wanting to get everything in like 2 weeks ago, but it's been so wet here. Right now, the garden's actually fairly dry, probably because I tilled it up there the other day, and we've only had like 1/4 inch of rain since then. Onions need a lot of water. That's a good point there. I never watered mine that much, and they never did that great. Last year, I poured the water to them, and they did awesome. So I learned a little bit about them. They do like water, especially right now. They're going to be fragile. Like I said, it's not hot today. It looks really nice. It's only like 58 out here, and the wind's blowing like crazy. It's kind of cool, but it's not bad in the sun. But that soil's dry, and it's not supposed to rain for at least 4 days, maybe a little bit longer. So I'll come out and give these a good drink every couple days until we get them established, get them going. But anyhow, that's my onions and potatoes. Hope this helped. If you had any questions or anything, and check out my other videos. There's another video where I planted onions and potatoes last year, the same spot in the garden. So anyhow, check that out, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on the Buckeye Gardener channel. Here's what's left of last year's Patterson onions, in case you're wondering. As you can see, some of them are sprouted. They're not very good. They're pretty much all about shot, but there's still a few of them in there. You see, they're nice sized onions too. They've held up really well. I got 4 or 5 of them in there sprouting, but figuring I started these in February of last year, dug them up in July, and this is April of the following year. I think it did pretty good.